Hi, welcome to sixth grade science. I am Brian Wigand. I've been teaching here at Hart. I think this is my ninth year. I've taught sixth and seventh grade, but mostly sixth grade. Um, so let's talk about the class. Every day when your student comes in, everything that they need to know is up here on the whiteboard behind me. Let me go ahead and show you some of it. Right here is always they're always going to come on in. They're going to open up their computer and they're going to start the warm up for whatever lesson we're on. All of our lessons are in Amplify, which I'll show you in just a minute. Actually, you can see the background right now. We also have on the board here our objectives, what we're learning that day, what we're actually doing that day. It always tells them the lesson that we're doing. Like today was 2.1, the human microbiome. Their homework will always be up here, and homework for our class almost always is going to be just finish whatever you didn't get done in class. So, for instance, we're doing 2.1 today. If there was anything that they did not finish in 2.1, that would become their homework. Um, Homework usually will not be much. In fact, most of the time, your student probably won't have homework in my class because we've done everything already. So don't get worried if they never have science homework. It seems like because we're doing it in class, and if they're getting it done in class, that's awesome. That means that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. But occasionally, yeah, we will have homework. I imagine Wednesday night this week we'll probably have some homework. We probably won't have enough time to get through our entire lesson in class. Also down here, it's not on the board yet, but I'm going to be putting tests on there so the students know when the tests are coming up. Yeah, so that's the board. Every single day, they come in and it tells them exactly what they're supposed to be doing. Also on the board too, we have our unit questions, we have our chapter questions that are always up there. We refer to those every single day in class. We review those with the students. Over here, further on down the board, we have vocabulary, which we add to not every day, but pretty often. Again, we review those words almost every day in class. Our key concepts, the main things that the students are learning in the units, we go over those almost every day in class. So that's the board. What else can I tell you? Let's go ahead and talk about Amplify. You can see that right behind you, right behind me. These are the units, and this is what the student sees when they log into Amplify. They can log into Amplify through Clever. They've been doing it almost not since day one, but week 2, we started going into Amplify. And we are in microbiomes right now. So when the student is accessing a lesson, they will click on the unit. Right now it's microbiomes. Let me just go ahead and show you. And then we are in chapter 2 right now. So you can see that the chapters are laid out here. So they would click on chapter 2, and then we're in 2.1. So they would say, okay, 2.1 right here. And this is what it looks like. Now mine looks a little bit different than theirs, but it is pretty similar. They have all of these tabs right here, all the numbered tabs. And we start off with a lesson brief. We have digital tools over here. And again, whenever we start class, we almost always start with the warm-up. And that's where they would find it. And as you can see, they'll click on it, and then there's things for them to answer based on what they say here. The warm-ups will be different depending on what we're learning about and what we've done the previous days. But it's always related to what we're learning in class and what we're going to be learning more about that particular day. And in class, we go through these lessons. We go step by step. I walk the students through the lessons. We talk about the answers every step of the way. And again, towards the end, sometimes there will be times when I say, okay, now do this on your own. You have the rest of class to do it. And that's where like the homework will come in. Whatever they don't get finished, that'll end up being homework for them. But a lot of times, we end up just getting everything done in class, and then they don't have anything, which I don't like homework, so that's just me. Today we did like a reading on microbiomes, and they had to answer some questions about it, and we had great discussions about it. But that's pretty typical for these types of lessons. Sometimes we will do experiments. Sometimes we will have questions that we have to answer, like our unit question: how can having 100 trillion microorganisms on and in the human body keep us healthy? That drives us throughout the whole unit. A lot of times we will be following a storyline throughout our units of study that leads us into new questions and new investigations, and the students are constantly building upon what they're learning. I like Amplify. really puts the students in the driver's seat of their learning. It really gets them thinking more like a scientist. Amplify is not a textbook, and I know a lot of people have trouble with that. It's not just a place where you can go and look up the scientific facts and find out the answers. And I know a lot of parents and guardians struggle with that too, because if they find that their student is struggling or they want to know what their student's doing, it's not laid out like a traditional textbook like I had when I was in school. But it's very different. It does follow a story, and it every single day builds on the previous day. So how can you access Amplify if you want to check it out? Well, you have to use your student's account, and they would have to log you in, basically. And then you can check. You can see what's going on. If you want to check your student's work in Amplify, up here in this menu, mine says classwork, but theirs will say, I think, my work, or something like that. It'll look purple like that. And then you can go through and you can see all of the assignments that they've done in Amplify. Let's see. Do we want to talk anything else about Amplify? I don't think so. Let's talk about Google Classroom. My Google Classroom, I really don't use it for much. I'll post assignments there, but all the assignments, all I'm doing is saying, here's what we did today. Go ahead and do that. But all of the work that your student is doing is in Amplify. They answer the questions there, they respond there, they do their readings there. I don't post things in Google Classroom like assignments, just what did we do, basically. Rarely I do. Rarely I will post something there, but most often it's all in Amplify. With the assignments, I will start posting videos as well. These are videos that I made last year during distance learning, and so if your student wants a little bit of extra help, they can watch those videos along with doing the lesson. Since we're talking about getting help, if your student needs help any other time, they should definitely ask questions. During class or outside of class, they can always email me too, and I will be offering a lot of different access periods for review, for reteaching, for retesting that your students can sign up for. Some of your students, I will pull them into my class because I know I want them to be there. If you're not familiar with access, we have that on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I'm not going to go into all of what it is right here and right now, but let's go ahead and talk about, what do we want to talk about next? How about grading? I use standards-based grading in my class. And what that means is I don't grade assignments. I grade your students' understanding of the standards. This is all laid out also in the welcome letter that I sent to all of my students and all of the guardians that are associated with that student in Q. If you did not get one of those letters and I emailed them, you can let me know. You can reach out and I will make sure that you get that. But for standards-based grading, when you go into Q, you're not going to see assignments. Again, all you're going to see is a standard. So for instance, microbiomes. I will have 2 standards or 3 standards for that. And it'll say microbiomes essential standard 1, microbiomes essential standard 2, microbiomes essential standard 3. And then the student will either get a 0 through a 4. A 0 is they never took the assessment. So I have nothing to grade them on. And a 4 is really like impressive, really impressive. A 3 would mean that the student understands it. A 3 is a good score. A 3 means that the student is doing well and that they understand it, but they could still go a little bit further. Maybe they could polish their answer a little bit. Maybe they could apply some other concepts that we've learned in other parts of the chapters, other units that we've done, and really just show me that they could teach this concept to another student. Let's see, what did I not go over? A 2 would be, a student might use some of the vocabulary, might reference some of our key concepts, but it's pretty clear that the student needs a little bit more time to really learn this subject. A 1 would be the student showed up, took the test, wrote something down. But a 1 would mean that we really need to go back and almost start from the beginning. And so what happens? What happens if my student gets a 1 or a 2 or a 3? What happens if my student wants to improve their score? Well, there's ways to do that. Because since I don't grade assignments, everything is 100% based on the assessments. However, a student has as many chances as they want to take the assessment, and I will offer those in my access classes. I will offer review sessions in my access classes, and again, I will be pulling some of your students into my access classes because I want them to retest, because I want them to review. So if a student gets a 2 on one of their standards on the assessment, they can come to my access class, they can review, we'll go over the assessment, we'll go over the standards, and we will hopefully clear up some misunderstandings, and then they can retest. And when they retest, if they score higher, say they score a 3 or a 4, that will erase the 2, and they will have that score because they were able to show they got it. They finally got it. If they do not as well, it won't hurt them. There's no risk in retesting. If they scored a 2 and then they end up getting a 1, they don't get a 1 in the scorebook. They keep their 2, and we will continue to try to help them understand. A student can retest all year long for any of our units. I had students at the end of last year retesting for the very first unit that we did and improving their scores. I tell my students, hey, even though the report cards came out, I'll still go back and I will change your first semester grade if you can show me that you have taken the time, made the effort to continue your learning. Because for some students, it's just going to take longer to grasp some of these concepts. So that's how I grade. Please reach out with any questions that you have. I know that was kind of a really brief explanation, but also read that welcome letter. Hopefully that makes it pretty clear too what I'm doing as far as grading. I'm going to pause this really quick, see how long I've gone. I have no idea. So I'll go ahead and wrap it up. I'm really excited to be back in school despite the masks. It's great. All of your students have good energy. I hope that we have a really great time this year. I'm looking forward to getting to know all of them better and having some fun while we're learning. I try to keep class as engaging as possible and try to keep homework as limited as possible. So, hey, that's a recipe for success, right? Anyways, please reach out. You can email me, bwigand@pleasantonusd.net. If you have any questions or concerns or just, want to tell me how awesome I am. Anyways, thanks for watching.